Hey everyone, my name is Michelle, and if you're new here, welcome to my channel, More Than Yoga. Today I have beginner's yoga for you. So it's the perfect place to start if you're new to yoga or coming back to it, or if you want to get a little bit more information and dial in some of the fundamentals of yoga. So most importantly, make sure that you are dressed in something comfortable that you can move in. Preferably have a mat, but if you don't, that's fine too. I would say have water, maybe a towel, a block, or any prop that you like to use. Other than that, just understand that it's a practice. There is no perfection, which is actually incredibly freeing when you remember that. So you can just come as you are. And besides that, let go of any judgment, anything that is going to get in your way, any comparison or this idea that it has to look or be a certain way. Remember that your practice is your own. So with that in mind, my favorite place to start is child's pose. So we'll start there. Don't worry, I'll talk you through it. Bring your big toes together, your knees out wide. And if child's pose is not your thing, you could also just begin in a seated position. But walk your hands forward. You can bring your forehead all the way down to the mat, or maybe hover it off the mat. I like a little movement from side to side sometimes as I settle in. But this is just an opportunity to get grounded, like to get present right where you are, which is a huge part of yoga. Focusing your attention. So listen to the sound of your inhale, the sound of your exhale. Draw your sits bones back towards your heels. Just lengthen through the sides of your body. Like I said, let go of any stress or tension. Just don't overthink it. Remember, it's just yoga, so you can bring some lightness and maybe even playfulness and a sense of curiosity to this time. Come to all fours to tabletop with your shoulders stacked over your wrists, your hips over your knees. We'll take some cat-cows. So just drop your chest, look forward, and then round your back, look towards your thighs. Couple more of those. Okay, big breath in, full breath out. Tuck your tailbone. And lift the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. And then down and pull your belly button towards your spine. All right, come to a flat back. Make sure you're pressing through your whole hands. Okay, so take some pressure off your wrists. Tuck your toes, downward facing dog. So this is a pose, even if you've never done yoga, you've probably heard it before. And you can just pedal out your feet, kind of play with the length and the width of your stance. Figure out what's right for you. Press down and forward through your hands. Pull your shoulders back. And then here, you want to press your chest towards your thighs, but also make sure you're not collapsing through your shoulders. Bring your inner ankles back, meaning an inward rotation in your legs. Nothing too extreme. Set your eyes at one spot. You might hear it called drishti. It's just looking at one spot, whether it's on your mat, the wall. But the more you allow your eyes to wander, right, then your attention starts to wander. So just stay focused right here. Also, it helps to keep your spine in alignment. Come up high on your toes. Create some length through your arches. And then tiptoe to the top of your mat, nice and slow. Ragdoll. That's just a big forward fold, hinging at your hips. You can bend your knees as much as you need to, and definitely make sure that you're not locked out, right? So at least a slight bend. some ease through your joints. You can drop your head. Grab opposite elbows. I like some movement here too, but if stillness seems better for you, just be still. Make sure you're not holding your breath, or that your breath isn't too shallow, but full inhales, full exhales. As you get more acquainted with your practice, you'll probably develop a specific breath. It could be ujjayi breath, could be something else, but for now, don't stress over it. Drop your hands down to the mat. Bring your feet about hip distance apart. That is about 2 fist widths. Right? Remember, it's your hip bones, not like your whole body. Then roll up to standing. Right? Stack your shoulders over your hips. Sweep your arms open wide. Reach up, extended mountain. So stand really tall. Press your feet down. Pull your belly in and up. So engage your core. Maybe from side to side here, if that feels good, or feels needed, rather. Right? Everything might not feel good. You do want to create a practice, though, that you'll feel better when you're done. Whatever that might be today. And it changes every time you step on your mat. Right? Your mood, your ability. Take your eyes up. Look up and back. Maybe even a bit of a back bend here. Forward fold. Hinge at your hips again. Halfway lift. So a half lift, create a flat back. Right? So different than just standing halfway up, which I think is a common misconception here. Right? Instead, draw your shoulder blades up towards the ceiling. Lengthen, right, the crown of your head forward. I like to press into my shins. You could also use your thighs. Depending on how much mobility, flexibility you have, you might bring your fingertips to the mat. But take a breath in here. Forward fold, right back where you were on your exhale. Extended mountain, so stand up, reach up. That's an inhale. Forward fold, that's an exhale. So again, halfway lift, big breath in. Forward fold, drop your head, extended mountain, pull your belly, forward fold. Halfway lift, create a flat back, then plant your hands on the mat, step back to a high plank. It's like a high push-up position, and it can be modified in a lot of different ways. You might bring your knees down to the mat. You can also take it as tabletop. Right here, maybe you lift a leg, right? You can up level, but look right at the top of your mat. So reach the crown of your head forward, draw your shoulders back. Create some ease, but strength through your foundation. Shift forward slightly, so your shoulders are just past your wrists. Then lower halfway down, low plank. Again, you might bring your knees down to the mat, perfectly fine. Upward facing dog. I'm gonna pause here. Press the tops of your feet down. Okay, like the shoelace side. Straighten your arms, pull your shoulders back. Okay, so I think a common thing is here, which looks so painful. Instead, press the mat away. Create length through your neck. Get some ease through your face. Inhale through your nose. And then exhale to downward facing dog. So tuck your toes, press your chest back towards your thighs. Good. Come up high on your toes. This time, just step or hop to the top of your mat. Take a halfway lift, forward fold, extended mountain. Spread your fingers wide. Forward fold. Good, halfway lift. Pull your belly in. High to low plank. This time, make it one fluid motion. Upward facing dog. Look forward. Downward facing dog. Look back. Take a breath in. Let it go. Come up high in your toes. Step or hop forward. Take a halfway lift. Forward fold. Hinge. Chair pose. So keep your feet about hip distance apart. Remember, it's going to look different for everyone. So don't worry, even if it doesn't look much like a chair. But engage your legs, your glutes, your core. Make sure you're not looking down, right? Or have rounded shoulders, but instead pull your shoulders back. Maybe lift your toes. You can peek down at your toes. If you can't see them at all, shift your shins back. Just one more breath here. Forward fold. Exhale. Halfway lift. High to low plank. Also called chaturanga, right? Low plank. Upward facing dog. Straighten your arms. Downward facing dog. Lift your hips. Three-legged dog, right side. So just lift your right heel straight up. And so I think a lot of people think it's trying to get your leg as high as you can, right? And that's not the case. Keep an inward rotation in your right leg or your lifted leg. So drop your hip down, then from your glute, lift your heel. Point or flex your foot, but keep it engaged. And then from your core, right, with purpose and mindfulness, step your right foot forward, plant your foot, warrior one. So let your back heel come down, right? And you might separate your feet a bit more left and right here, so they're not in one line. Work to bring your left hip forward. You can reach your hands up. Bring them to heart center. Lots of options, maybe cactus. I just encourage you though to experiment, to try it out. Give yourself some patience, some grace. Lengthen the sides of your body, reach up, maybe even look up. Warrior two. So you'll move your back foot slightly. Your heels might be in one line. And again, they might not, and that's okay. But look right down your front arm, down your middle finger. Drishti. Focus. Breathe. Notice your feet. Press your feet down. Bring some awareness to your core. Pull your belly in and up. Then flip your front palm. Reverse. So you'll take that up and back. Stay low in your front knee. So it's a stretch or a lengthening from your hip crease all the way to the tips of your fingers. Inhale here. On your exhale, cartwheel your hands down. Step your right foot back. Low plank, or you can skip that and go straight to down dog. Otherwise, upward facing dog, downward facing dog. We'll do the other side. So three-legged dog, left side. Lift your heel. Pull your shoulders back. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or your breath has become quick or shallow. Right, slow your breath, slow your thoughts. And then from your core, with purpose and ease, bring your foot forward, plant your foot, warrior one. So your back toes might face like 1 or 2 o'clock. You can work towards a 90-degree angle here in your front knee, and you don't have to. These are all just suggestions, but an opportunity for you to explore and see what's right for you. Pull your shoulders down and back. Notice if your ribs tend to splay out. Knit your front ribs in. Pull your inner thighs towards each other even. Get one more breath in here. Warrior two. Again, just rotate your back foot slightly. So your toes will face 3 o'clock now. Front foot at 12 o'clock. Pull your shoulder blades together on your back, but reach your hands even further apart. Lift the crown of your head up. Sink down. Maybe even smile a little bit, especially if you've come this far. Right? Acknowledge yourself for trying something new. Flip your palm. Reverse. Engage your left glute to make sure your knee's not caving in. And expand, create space through your rib cage for a full breath. And then cartwheel your hands down. Step your foot back. Chaturanga. Stack your elbows over your wrists. Upward facing dog. Lengthen your neck. Downward facing dog. Press your chest back. Remember, if at any time you need a break, just hit pause, come back when you're ready. 3-legged dog, right side. So lift your right heel, step forward, this time into crescent lunge or low lunge. So you've got some options here. You can keep your back knee lifted, stack your heel right over your toes, or you can bring your back knee down to the mat. And if you need some padding under your back knee, you can grab a towel, pillow, bolster, anything like that. Anything you have handy. But reach up, pull your belly in and up, and then hinge forward. Get long. Bring your hands down to the mat. Twist to the right. So reach your right hand straight up. Engage your hands, your feet, and your core. If you do that, I promise you the rest of you will be engaged too, and it's pretty hard to not be present and aware if your body's engaged. Bring your right hand back down. Warrior two. And so you've been here before. Your back heel comes down, look forward. Extended side angle. Couple of options here. You can bring your right forearm to your right thigh, or you can grab a block if you have one, or any other prop. Another option is to bring your hand down to the mat. That's not my favorite. It's just not what's right for me. You want to make sure you've got some space here, some length through the sides of your body, that you're not hunched over. Then reach your hand forward and all the way down to the mat. High plank. This time pause here in high plank. Plant your right hand at the center of your mat. Open up to side plank. Here you can bring your knee down right under your hip. That's a great option. Maybe lift your leg. Also, option to come down on your forearm. Stack your elbow right under your shoulder. lift a leg, stack or stagger your feet. But take your eyes up, test your balance. Again, it's not about perfection. If you come out, you can just come right back in. Bring your hand back down to the mat, downward facing dog. Take a breath in, let it go. Three-legged dog, left side. Lift your left heel, step forward, crescent or low lunge. Bring your front knee over your ankle, your back heel over your toes. Pull your belly in and up. You might even choose a different variation on this side, and that's perfectly fine. Remember to trust yourself, trust the process. Reach up, then hinge forward, press into your back foot. Bring your hands all the way down to the mat and your left hand up. So press through your right foot. Make sure you're not dumping all your weight forward. Create some length through your neck. You can bring your hand to your low back too. If it seems like a little much to take it up, causes any pain, unnecessary strain, bring your hand back down to the mat. Warrior two. Just bring your back heel down, kind of spin open. It's a fun transition. Press your feet down. Pull your inner thighs towards each other. Keep the length through the sides of your body. Extended side angle. So you can bring your forearm to your thigh. Keep your hands active. Press through your right foot. You can kind of peel your shoulder back, both shoulders back. And reach your hand forward, bring your bicep by your ear, all the way down to the mat. Step back to high plank. Press through your fingertips, and then the big knuckle of your pointer fingers. You don't want to let that lift off. Side plank, left side. Plant your left hand, open up to the left. So press down on whatever's touching the mat. Lift your hips. Maybe take your eyes up. Bring your hand back down. Separate your hands about shoulder distance apart. Downward facing dog. Lift your hips. You want some space between your heels and the mat or the floor. Come up high in your toes. Step all the way through your hands. Come down on your back. Come to bridge. So press your feet down. Lift your hips up. You can kind of shimmy your shoulders underneath you. Maybe clasp your hands into your low back. But tilt your tailbone forward slightly. Press your feet into the floor. Lift up. Remember, full breaths in, full breaths out. Option here to lift a leg. Maybe switch sides. Also, you can put a block, a pillow, a bolster under your low back for a more supported pose. Nice and slow, lower all the way down. Supta Baddha Konasana, a Sanskrit word. It's like reclined butterfly. So you can bring the soles of your feet together, your knees out wide. You might hear yoga teachers say, put one hand on your belly, one hand on your heart. You can also just bring your hands to your sides. Whatever feels right to you. kind of a moment to slow down. Right? Yoga is about listening to yourself or the different versions of you, taking an inventory of your thoughts, your beliefs, your habits, and then just choosing what's going to be aligned with the best version of you. Bring your knees back together. Hug your knees into your chest. I think I'd be doing you a disservice if I didn't include happy baby. So from here, bend your knees, bring your elbows to the inside of your knees, but your hands to the outsides of your feet. Right? I said don't overcomplicate it or overthink it. So that's my most simple direction on that. I see a lot of students struggling to get into happy baby, right? And it is something that could be more difficult for others. As is any pose. Something seemingly easy for some might be difficult or even not even an option for others. So if this isn't an option for you, you can modify and just go here. Plus, it's like one of the most attractive yoga poses, right? Bring your knees back together. Rock forward. Plant your hands at the top of your mat. Step back to downward facing dog. And we'll pedal it out. Three-legged dog, right side. Remember, just lift your right heel. This time we are going to open. So bend your knee and stack your hips or open them towards the right. Bring your right knee to your right wrist. Half pigeon. This is a hip opener. If you have knee pain, right? If you're like my husband who's had a lot of knee surgeries, you're dealing with an injury, something like that, you might choose a different pose altogether. And I'll show you that in just a second. Otherwise, bring your shin towards the top of your mat. Allow your hips to open up. By nature, it might be a little bit of an uncomfortable pose. So breathe some ease into it. Stay. Usually, those poses that are the most uncomfortable are the ones that we need the most. So if that one isn't accessible to you, figure 4 on your back. Okay, so just make a 4 here, your ankle right over your knee. Reach through. I use my elbow to keep my right knee out wide, and then just gently pull your left leg towards your chest. Just a little bit at a time. But that's an option there. You might walk your hands forward, bring your forehead all the way down to the mat, and point or flex your back foot. Plant your hands at the top of your mat. Step back to one last downward facing dog. Switch sides, so three-legged dog left side. Bend your knee, stack your hips. And be mindful of your shoulder that you're not collapsing through one side. Bring your left knee to your left wrist. Kind of walk my right foot back as I settle in. You might need a block or something under one hip or down your thigh so you can square your hips to the mat. But keep an inward rotation in your right leg here. If your thoughts start to wander, just come right back to your breath. Purposeful inhales. Purposeful and productive exhales. So with every exhale, just create ease, like a sense of release or relief. Yoga is about balance, but not just the physical balance, like on one foot or on your hand, more about bringing strength and ease. It's balancing out your way of being present, passionate, productive. Swing your right leg around, seated forward fold. You can do this one leg at a time, but we'll do both this time. So flex your feet, reach your arms up towards the ceiling, keep the length through your spine, fold forward. Here you can use a strap or a towel around your feet. You could just bring your hands to your shins, bend your knees. So there goes that excuse, I can't do yoga because I can't touch my toes. The most common excuse, right? You can just bend your knees. Release. Plant your hands by your hips. Your fingertips can face forward, back, or out to the sides. Reverse tabletop. Let your head hang back. Press your feet down and lift the front of your pelvis up towards the ceiling. And then slowly come down. So we'll take an inversion, meaning your hips over your heart. So a couple options here. Waterfall. Right, for that, you can just put a block or something under your low back. Lift your heels straight up. You can also do this against a wall, right? Just legs up the wall, some call it. Or shoulder stand. For shoulder stand, stack your feet over your hips and your hips over your shoulders. Just be mindful of your neck. So lift your chin and keep action in your feet. From here, you might take plow. Bring your toes towards the floor behind you. Deaf man's pose. Bend your knees. Wherever you're at, nice and slow, come onto your back. Biggest stretch yet. Get as long as you can. So reach back behind you, point your toes. Then hug your right knee into your chest. Give it a squeeze. Supine twist. Stack one hip right on top of the other. You can move your hips back to the center of your mat so your spine's in one long line. Switch sides. So come back through center. Hug your left knee in and twist. Release. Possibly the moment you've been waiting for, right? The yoga pose you've been waiting for, that you're probably best at, Shavasana. So just simply find a comfortable position on your back. Close your eyes and relax. Let go of any control over your breath. Just let it flow naturally. Allow your body to be heavy, your thoughts to be light. You can stay here for as long as you'd like. Gently roll off to your right side. Use your arm or a block to support your head. Just take one last moment here to pause so you can end your practice and go out into the rest of your day with purpose and intention, some lightness and ease, and of course, gratitude for your body and everything that it does for you, for who you are in this moment, and who you are becoming. With your eyes closed, come to a seated position, facing me. Sit up nice and tall. You can bring your hands to heart center, or you can just rest them on your thighs. Together, let's take one more big full breath in. Open your mouth, let it go. Namaste, and thank you. Thank you for joining me, and acknowledge yourself for trying something new. And remember to just keep coming back to your mat, keep showing up, let go of perfection, trust the process. And if you haven't already, like, subscribe, and I hope to see you soon.